I don't like using the term African diaspora. That's the term that the African Union settled on when they refer to black people, or rather Africans, who live outside the continent. And originally, it referred to descendants of those Africans who had left the continent like 200 to 300 years ago, but let alone extended to referring to those in recent times who leave the continent and go to settle to other continents. And in most instances, these new migrants acquire citizenship of these new countries that they adopt. But even without the new citizenship, they are still referred to as the African diaspora. In the following part of this video, I'm going to discuss the top 20 countries with the largest African population outside the African continent. And at position 19, we have Trinidad and Tobago. Now, this country, with a population of 1.3 million people, is located in the Caribbean, and more than 500,000 of its citizens are black people or Africans. The other third is made up of Indians who originally came from what is today Pakistan and India, and the remaining group is the mixed people, that is mixed between Indians and blacks and other groups. So that is Trinidad and Tobago for you. At position 19, we have Germany. Germany has about 1 million of its citizens being of African descent. That is, 1 million black Africans living in Germany as citizens out of its 83 million people. These are mostly recent migrants who went to Germany to look for better opportunities. At position 18, we have Cuba or Cuba with about 1.1 million people out of its 11 million people. That is about 10% of Cuban population being black people. At position 17, we have Ecuador with about 1.1 million being black people out of its 18 million people. That is about 7.5%. Position 16, we have Venezuela, also with about 1.1 million being black people out of its 28 million people. That is about 4%. Now, Cuba, Ecuador, and Venezuela, the black populations there are descendants of the Africans who were taken there during the transatlantic slave trade, when the Spanish Empire took them there to work in the sugar plantations. At position 15, we have Italy or Italia with about 1.1 million Africans, half of them being North African, that is Moroccans and Tunisians, and the other half, about 600,000 people, being black Africans. These are most likely recent migrants who go to Europe to look for job opportunities. At position 14, we have the Dominican Republic. This is the country that shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti. The Dominican Republic is found to the east of that island with about 1.2 million people being black out of its 10 million people. So about 15% of its population are blacks, 70% are mixed race people, 10% are whites, most likely Spanish. And speaking of Spanish or Spain, at our position 13, we have Spain, again with about 1.2 million people being Africans, and about 75% or 3/4 of that being North Africans, that is Moroccans, the Berbers, the Tunisians, and the Libyans. So the quarter of that, 1.2, are black Africans in Spain. At position 12, we have Canada with about 1.3 million black people. These are most likely recent migrants from African countries. There could be a good number from Canada's southern neighbor, that is America, who are descendants of American African Americans. Others could be from Jamaica or Mexico or Cuba. Mexico, also known as Mexico, has about 1.5 million black Africans, also known as Afro-Mexicans. These are most likely descendants of Africans who are working in Spanish plantations, sugar plantations in Mexico and other regions in the Caribbean. In our position 10, we have the United Kingdom with about 2.1 million black Africans or Sub-Saharan Africans living in the United Kingdom as citizens of the UK. Majority of these blacks are recent migrants from former British colonies like Jamaica, Nigeria, Kenya and Ghana. At our position 9, we have Jamaica with about 2.6 million black Africans out of a population of about 3 million. These are descendants of Africans who are taken to Jamaica during the transatlantic slave trade to work in sugar plantations. At position 8, we have Peru. Peru. Now, this is a country located in Southern America, bordering countries like Brazil, Colombia, Bolivia, and Chile. Besides the hit song Peru by a Nigerian artist, most Africans probably have never heard of Peru. But down there, we have about 3 million black people, or Afro-Peruvians are they referred to down there. 3 million. You won't believe who we have as our position 7. Now, Saudi Arabia, who is our position 7, has about 4 million of its citizens being black. These are pure black Africans. Out of a population of 34 million, this is more than 10% black people in Saudi Arabia. Abdis, Abdul, as they are referred down there, because Abdi means black, so Abdul means black person in Saudi Arabia. At position 6, we have another Arabian country, that is Yemen, with more than 4 million of its citizens being black. This could be recent migrants from Somalia, from Djibouti, from Ethiopia. Also, they could be descendants of former slaves sold to Yemen more than 300 years ago. All in all these are Abdis, Abdul, but citizens of Yemen who are blacks from Africa. At position 5, we have Colombia, the land of Pablo Escobar. Colombia has about 5.5 million people being black people, all of African descent, out of its population of 50 million people. That's about 10% or thereabout. And in our position 4, we have France. Out of its 67 million people, France has between 6 and 7 million Africans, or people of African descent. These could be recent migrants who moved to France to look for better opportunities, or second or third generation African migrants. Half of them could be North Africans, that is Tunisians, Algerians, Moroccans, but the other half are people from Sub-Saharan Africa. People like Paul Pogba, who is a famous soccer player. We have Mbappe, we have people like N'Golo Kante. We have actors like Omar Sy, the guy who acted Rupin, and many, many others. And in our position 3, we have Haiti. Now, Haiti is a country that shares the same island, the Hispaniola Island, with another country called the Dominican Republic. Haiti has a population of about 12 million people. More than 10 of that are Africans, or people of African descent. So Haiti is 99% African. As a matter of fact, the African Union should admit Haiti into the African Union. Also, that Africanness has made Haiti a target because it's so close to the borders of the United States, and the US doesn't want a prosperous African nation next to its borders. So for decades, the US has always meddled into Haiti's local politics. And in our position 2, we have the United States, the nation that is always meddling into Haiti's affairs. The US has about 48 million people that identify themselves as Africans or of African descent. Majority of these 48 million people are descendants of former slaves who were sent to the United States. About 4.5 million of these 48 million are recent migrants, Africans who recently went to the US from countries like Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, and so on. The US also classifies any person of mixed race between black and any other race as black, so the 48 million also includes people of color or mixed race or mestizo as they are referred to in Brazil. And in our number one, we have a country that officially claims that only 16 million of its 202 million people are of African descent, but experts disagree and say that 97 to 100 million are people of African descent or Afro-Brazilians as they are referred to in Brazil. And that is only the pure Afro-Brazilians or pure Africans. When you come to the mixed race, that is anyone mixed between any other race and black, they also make up a very big chunk of the population, making black and mixed race the largest group in Brazil, making up almost 70% of the country's population. Kindly leave a comment in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Remember, we put in a lot of effort in researching and putting together these kind of videos.